So just a couple of your comments very quickly. Rary in Manchester says, could you please ask how we can know if a local optometrist is qualified and not an apprentice displaying a bogus certificate? What should we look for? All right, I'm going to follow up on that question here because they're not listed by the medical council because they're not medical doctors. So where are they listed? Thanks so much for the question. I'll follow up for you. And we have as well, Dexter says, ask about the discount aspect of the tariffs. And another listener saying, why can't the rest of the world trade and isolate America? And a number of comments in relation to that issue of the trade, which we'll make sure to come back to, all right? In this segment of the program, they'll want to talk about the latest Indecom report, looking back at 2024 and also the final quarter of last year, October to December. And the head of Indecom, Hugh Faulkner, is with us. Mr. Faulkner, thanks as always. Appreciate talking to you.
Right, it's my pleasure, and good evening to your listeners also, Leon.
How would you look back at 2024 from Indecom's perspective? What kind of year was it?
Right, well, 2024, we had a total of 1,071 complaints, and this is roughly within the same ballpark figure since the COVID period, where we have exceeded 1,000 complaints, save and except for maybe 2022 when we had 900 plus. In terms of fatalities, 189 fatalities in 2024, which was higher than the previous year. And that is concerning to us because, you know, we're speaking of human life. Life is irreversible. And, you know, it's final. Death is final. So we are concerned. We are hoping that the figures wherein the security forces are executing their duties, that there are less fatalities. And I've noted the responses of the security forces, but nevertheless, given the value and the primacy of life, the figures are high, and we're concerned about that. Also in 2020.
Sorry, before you go on, drill down on that a little bit more, because I'm looking at your figures and you're talking about a 22% increase for 2024 over 2023 and a 41% over 2022. And you're saying You've been seeing this kind of increase in fatal shootings every year for the past, is this five years?
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing.
Right. So in 2020, we had 115 fatalities. In 2021, the 115 became 127. In 2022, the 127 became 134. 2023, 155. And 2024, 189. And 2024 had the fatalities. There were 64 planned operations from which fatalities occurred, which was higher than the previous 4 years.
You know, the response from the security forces is we're a high crime environment and they have to respond when challenged or when fired upon. So does that explanation work for Indecom?
Well, you know, Dion, we have to be mindful of our mandate, which is to investigate the conduct of the security forces that lead to injury or death. And we have to be impartial, we have to be independent, and we have to be objective. So it is hardly prudent for us to make any incriminatory remarks, but what we can say, the numbers are indeed high.
Okay, all right, got you. Let me let you continue.
Yes. And looking back at 2024 now, in terms of matters that were ruled for charge, 2024, we had actually 24 matters that were ruled for charge during that year, which amounted to 2 cases per month, 12 months, 24 cases. And so that we believe, we're hoping that, you know, the conduct of the security forces would lead to lower numbers in terms of being charged. So that was the case in terms of the matters being charged. If I may give you some further details, so 28 officers were actually charged of the 24 cases. The JCF accounted for 24 of the 28 officers, the Department of Correctional Services, 3 officers, and the JDF, 1 officer. And just to complete 2024, we had renewed on several occasions our call for the use of body-worn cameras, which we believe will enhance the accountability, transparency, and integrity of investigations.
Okay. What would you say was the biggest concern Indecom had for the year?
What was the biggest what?
What was the biggest issue, biggest concern for Indecom for 2024, looking back at everything you've been describing?
Well, the window of life itself exposes the human being to all other experiences. So I would say the 189 fatalities, regrettable.
Okay. How has Indecom been doing in terms of the complaints you've been getting and being able to respond and dispose of them?
Right. Well, as you know, the Privy Council had indicated that our prosecutorial authority is the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. And when we analyzed over the past 10 years, we had 165 cases in the court, and in a number of cases where the journey through the justice system took 5 or more years, we had in a number of cases attrition of witnesses. And you're within the court system, you can understand that after a while. So notwithstanding your use of court liaison and witness liaison to seek to keep the witnesses interested and to attend to their duties to the justice system, there were a number of instances where that attrition occurred. We have taken some steps to improve our client interaction, and this was something that the Amnesty International had commented on in 2016. So we have added on staff a family liaison officer, beyond a trained social worker. So in us investigating matters, and you can see the high rate of fatalities. So somebody is deceased, but many times there are children, there are mothers, there are family members, there are spouses who are grieving. And so notwithstanding the investigative aspect of the process with our investigators and our forensic personnel, we ensure that empathetic and sympathetic contact are given to the family members, children, etc. Because in many instances, those family members, even who are not eyewitnesses, will be formal witnesses. So that is an addition to, our menu of services today.
Have you found it helps? Because as you're saying, when you speak about attrition of witnesses, what happens, of course, is people just get tired. They get fed up. They're tired to come court. They get tired of a matter, and people want to move on with their lives. And they'll just say, all right, they're not interested. They're not coming back.
Yes.
So
not only that, so if I may add one dimension, we have also sought to ensure that there's investigation with social intervention referral. So where there's a fatality at a residence, and when your team goes there, you may find that there's no running water, there's no bathroom facility, no kitchen facility, maybe children not going to school, or all our forensic steps are taken, investigative steps are taken, but the family liaison may get involved in the process, who needs counseling, get counseling, who are to be referred to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and they have worked very well with us. We do the referrals. So persons who are to come and pass, children who are to be registered in school, all those things are done. In fact, in a number of cases, at least 7 fatal matters, the family of the victims have received burial grants because we are investigating them, but you cannot ignore these realities where the person is deceased, but the family do not have the resources to fulfill the burial process. So we have done the referrals, and persons have gotten burial grants. Those details and statistics we'll provide later on. And as a result of also our observation, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security also carries out home visits and provide rehabilitation grants where the persons are in dire hardship. Now, we believe that this is another way to ensure that the stakeholders, the witnesses, the family members, the surviving family members will stay with the process, because in the absence of some of these issues being addressed, they will not return if you need a further statement, they will not attend court, etc. And this is a model used elsewhere that we have seen to be successful.
Have to leave it there. We appreciate your time as always, Mr. Faulkner. Thank you so much.
Right, thanks.
Hugh Faulkner, Commissioner at Indecom, Independent Commission of Investigations, talking to us there. Time for sports. We're back at 7.